first like to thank Ed and Henry and all the Doma Movies for sponsoring the breakfast course. So thank you very much. And Stephen Mennel, a longtime alumni who has all kinds of great information to give you guys, and then of course the Filmmakers. And John is filming this, so hopefully we'll be on YouTube later, as well as all our panelists. So I'm just going to turn this over to Stephen and Jerry.
All right, welcome everybody. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
All right, so we're waiting for one person?
Yeah.
All right, I don't want to embarrass you. All right, so why don't we start with this? I'd like to get to know everyone on the panel. So why don't we just go start in order, starting with you. Just say your name, the name of your film, and then we'll just kind of maybe tell a little bit about yourself, and we'll go down the road.
You want to give me the mic?
It's so early to talk about myself.
And you'll pass the mic to me.
Hello, my name is Sarah Gaston, and my film is Coyote. It's playing this afternoon in the 1:30 block. I've been an actor for over 40 years, never thought I'd direct, and yet here I am.
I am Lorraine Portman. I started as a playwright and did theater, and then went to Florida State for film. And so now I write, direct, and occasionally I'm in things, but mostly I like to write and direct.
Hello, my name is Tamla D'Amico, original Long Islander. Happy to be back here. I'm an alumni. I won with a film called Valari here a million years ago, and now I have a film called Bedtime, which screened this week. I am a multi-hyphenate, writer, director, actor, producer, editor, predator is what it's known as now. And happy to be here.
Hi, I'm Jack Tomlinson. My film is The Actor's Actor. Typically I'm an actor, the actor's actor, but also this time around I am also the writer and director. So, glad to be here.
I'm Rashida Bashurst. I'm a junior in high school. My film is Honey, and I produced and directed the film.
Hey guys, good morning. My name is Tony D'Antonio with Shake the Tree Productions. My film is The Silicant. I've been an actor for over 30 some odd years, not going to say exactly how long, and a voice artist for 20 years, and I've been producing since the early 2000s. Known Deb a really long time, so thanks for having me, and really glad to be a part of this community. It's a great community part of it. Thanks.
Hi everyone, my name is Eliana Clark. I'm originally from Russia, and my film is Marianne and the Rebels, which is screening today. I want to thank Long Island International Film Expo for having my film today. Also, I want to thank Ashin, my friend, who told me about this beautiful community, and that's why I'm here. And so I produced and acted in my short film Marianne and the Rebels.
Looks like we're just in time. So my name is
perfect.
Yeah, right. My name is Maximilian Remler. I directed 4 Clones Alone, which is my debut feature film, and it was shot maybe 51% on Long Island. So very excited to debut it here.
Awesome. Okay, I think we should just first start with a round of applause for all these great filmmakers. Anybody who's made a film knows how difficult the process is, and to get it completed is a really amazing accomplishment, so congrats to all you guys. So what I'd like to start with first is, we went this way, now let's go the opposite way, and we'll start with Max. Just tell everyone a little bit about your film, what it's about, if it hasn't played yet, the time it's playing, but mostly just what is your film about?
So my film is about an 18-year-old kid. He is an only child, and he has absolutely no friends except maybe his own mother. And on his 18th birthday, he makes a wish and doesn't tell anybody what it is. And he hears a peculiar noise outside of his bedroom. And he goes outside to this local forest and finds a pulsating sci-fi type orb. And when he goes to touch it, it explodes in his face and copies him. And so then it becomes 4 versions of him. And the catch is that none of them know who the original was. So now they're spending the rest of the movie now with 3 other brothers, and they're trying to figure out their own unique identities. and the film follows them through that. So it's sort of this weird family dramedy buddy comedy with a bunch of weird sci-fi and skits mixed in. And it has not played yet. It's playing today at 4 p.m. So
4 p.m.
yeah.
Like,
Now, is that based on a true story?
Yes, sir, it is. Well, okay, so a funny story is I am not an only child. I am the first of 4 siblings. So, yeah, and, so it's
So inspired by a true story.
yeah, it's strangely relatable in a weird way. So, yeah.
loosely based on true.
Yes.
All right, Elena.
Wow, I want to watch it.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm fascinated. So, hi again, and my film is screening right now, this minute, as I speak. And my film is a historical satire. It's a short film of 11 minutes, 32 seconds, screening next door right now, if anyone wants to see it. And it's about 2 historical figures. So it features historical figures, Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, super serious characters, and I'd like to take them from the pedestals and put them in the situation of a comedy. So it also features a fiction character, Marianne. That's why the film is called Marianne and the Rebels. And Marianne is a symbol of French Revolution, of those ideas of liberty, liberty, equality, and fraternity. And I just thought that, some super serious political ideas and figures, historical figures that we learn from the textbooks, could be humans. There is always some, humor about it. Could be just. And I thought that Karl Marx actually is much funnier than I expected.
All right, everybody up. We're going to go next door and watch it right now.
That was a mic drop. So, hey guys, my film is called The Silicant, and it's a psychological thriller, and it sort of explores the reality versus what's in our head and what sort of triggers trauma. And while it's kind of scary and creepy and spooky, it really is about serious mental health issues and how sometimes from childhood you carry these traumas into your adulthood, and it takes 1 or 2 little triggers to help reinstate that trauma, and your adult self acts a little bit differently towards the trauma than you did as a child. So it's about this alternate creature that infests this young man's mind, and actually you really don't know if it's in his mind or not. Until the very end, which still makes you question. But it does really explore that mental health issue of, what triggers us and what do we manifest to help get us through the trauma. And so while the film is considered a psychological thriller / horror, at the heart of it, it really has a really great message about mental health, and it's very entertaining. The young man who plays the lead is compelling, which we absolutely love because he's a newcomer to the film. So it's called The Silicant, which is the creature that we either see or don't see in our mind, and it's about how we cope with traumas that come into our adult life from childhood.
Oh, and Tony,
Really deep.
what was your role in the production?
Oh, I'm sorry, I was the producer, and actually I was brought on towards the end of production because the filmmakers wanted me to assist with shaping the film for post-production so that we could prepare it for the marketplace. And we're very happy to announce that we did get picked up by an amazing sales company in Toronto called Shadow Pine Studios. So we're being sold at market right now, which is really exciting. So yeah, we got picked up. So thanks for asking, Steve.
When is it playing?
I'm sorry, it already played. Yeah, we played Wednesday night. We were at the late block on Wednesday night, so sorry you missed it. But it should be coming out soon because our sales team is really good.
Congrats.
Thank you.
My film is Pani, which is water in Hindi. It's a short documentary about a village that I visited, telling the story of their life before they were donated a water well and after. And it's just about how something that comes so easy to us, water, can totally change someone else's life. So yeah.
And actually, what was your role in the film?
Oh, sorry. I produced and directed it.
Produced and directed, okay. Thank you.
Wow, I'm the one who made a showbiz drama about my life, I feel. That was so much better, such a better piece of art.
We need yours too.
I needed mine, it was pretty much for my ego. It's called Actor's Actor. I play the actor's actor. And it's about a man named Austin Dean, who is a once beloved child actor. And as he grows up, he comes to find that it wasn't his talent, it was his young cuteness. Yes, I was a very cute kid. Clearly that got lost in transition of time. And he becomes obsessed with being an actor's actor, and he puts all of his stock into this one audition that he thinks is going to win him the Oscar and change his life. And what he realizes through his roommate is he's not the only one with this dream, and sometimes people would rather work with an okay actor who's a pleasure to be around than a really good actor who's just an absolute nightmare. I like to think I'm the front and not the latter, but it plays tonight 6:45, so you can watch it and tell me for yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Tala D'Amico, the producer-director of Bedtime, spelled bed/time, because it's all about presence versus productivity of a father who is basically overtaxed trying to work on a Zoom call while it's time to put his child to bed, and she will not go to bed. And she's very precocious. It stars Cooper Barnes and his actual real-life family based on the conversations that he had with his daughter. So the movie was born basically of him wanting to press pause on this time in life with his kid at the time, who was 8 years old when we filmed it, and she turned 9, and now she came here on Wednesday night, we screened it, she's 10 now. And just the time period from when we filmed it to what she is now, there is a change, right? So he's like, we'll always have this. But it's not a mockumentary or documentary, it actually is a scripted film, but it was just inspired by their real life. And Cooper Barnes was, for 13 years on Henry Danger, if you were a kid, over the past 13 years. So it was interesting for him to move away from Nickelodeon as an actor and now be sort of in the rom-com world of dads. And yeah, 11-minute short, and we screened already.
So my film is called My Best Friend Bonnet Head, and it started because I made a documentary that we shot on an iPhone with a tripod held together with painter's tape. And that movie has played theaters and held up and looks good and sounds decent. And so I was trying to convince a friend of mine in Chattanooga, who's a writer, director, actor, to go with me to a film festival in Oklahoma. And she was like, I don't know. And I was like, what if we make a movie while we go? I have this cute little convertible. Let's go. I'll pay you and I'll cover all the expenses. And because I really wanted her to go. So there's 2 Laura Ingalls Wilder home sites between Chattanooga, Tennessee and Muskogee, Oklahoma. So we shot in Mansfield, Missouri. We shot in Chattanooga. We shot in Independence, Kansas. We did some shooting in Oklahoma. But it basically was about trying to get her to go with me. And I wrote a script. She plays a woman who is done nursing and wants to be an influencer and realizes that if you tap an already existing fan base, that you've got a better shot. So she's going after the Bonnet Head fan base, which are fans of Laura Ingalls Wilder's books and the TV show. And we were doing this, and Netflix just dropped a new little house.
Yeah.
So Bonnet Heads are having a moment, yay! So we've got a wacky little female road trip comedy, and it played Thursday, but we're gonna play again in San Antonio, and I hope we play again, so feel free to follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
And I'll follow that with a downer.
Your road trip is sad.
My road trip is very sad. So I'm the director and producer of Coyote. I'm also a writer, but I did not write this one. But the idea for this film was born out of the overturning of Roe v. Wade and abortion and reproductive care being outlawed and restricted all over the country. And my story in particular is about 3 women who hire a coyote not to smuggle them into the U.S. for better opportunity, but out of Texas in order to get their reproductive care they cannot receive here or in Texas. And there are some bounty hunters that are after them. And although it's a fiction, it is based on a whistleblower law that is actually happening in Texas, and I'm gonna start crying, and yeah.
right, great. Okay, one thing I'd like to bring up, we talked about, how difficult movies are to make. So I'd like to find out, like, from some of you, I always like to ask this question because on my films, everything often goes wrong, right? But then it turns into being something that actually benefits the film. You think it's a disaster in the moment, and then you're like, wow, if that hadn't happened, this wouldn't have happened. So I was wondering if anybody has a story about something bad that happened that ended up making their film better. Tony.
For sure. My very first film, and I wish I could make this up. My very first film, oh, do you need my mic? I'm loud. I don't know. I'm Italian and loud, so. But no joke, my very first film, we were filming in a bar. And we had to go and get a prop. And as you all well know, sometimes when you need a prop, you get the prop and you take it out of the box and you save the box and you take it back and you're done with the prop. This is being recorded, I'm going to be arrested. But we had to buy a microwave because we were filming in the back of the bar in the kitchen and we couldn't use their microwave for insurance purposes. So we got this microwave and we took it out for the prop and we filmed a little bit and I came back out to the bar and I was looking around and there was a group of people and they were like leaning over and they were giggling and sort of cooing and oohing and eyeing. And I was like, what is happening? And I turn around the corner and I see the microwave box and there's a piece of paper taped to it. And it says, do not throw away, which I was like, cool. And then below that it says, baby in box. And I was like, oh, okay, what is happening? And so apparently at the time, my production designer decided it was take your baby to work day without asking. And so we had a baby in a box in a bar. And I was like, does child welfare services mean anything to anybody? Like, we could be shut down at any moment. And yeah, so that happened. And what turned out better for the project is that that person was fired. And we hired somebody better, who was a little bit more efficient with props. And so we were actually much more organized for the rest of the shoot because that was kind of a nightmare. Yeah, baby in a box in a bar. That's going to be a catchphrase. I don't know why.
Never heard that.
And that's a true story. True story.
Anybody else with any nightmare stories? Elena? Oh,
I have nightmare stories.
No, you go first. Who has it?
Well, this is just a nightmare. I don't know that it made things better. We were shooting in a wilderness area, and we had scouted the location, and the climactic scene was going to happen in this clearing. And in the 2 weeks from when we scouted that location for the final time with my DP, we knew that's where we were going to shoot. There had been a lot of rain, and there was poison ivy everywhere. So on the fly, in the middle of a wilderness area, we had to scurry around and find a new location for that climax, trying to get the sun right, and it was not fun. And we were also recipients of the tail end of that horrific 4th of July flooding that happened in Texas, that took out, Camp Mystic and quite a bit of Kerrville, and had sideways rain. And so between those two things, we lost about a day and a half of shooting.
Cha-ching, cha-ching.
Yep.
So back to props. I did a movie road picture movie where we see at the beginning of the movie the woman we see her put something, we don't see what the thing is, into a bag, like a gift bag, and it's a little colored gift bag, and she's carrying it from Rochester down through Florida, and it's in every scene. She carries it the whole time, and the reveal is at the end of the movie when she unpacks it and see what it is. And it's a
Baby.
Baby pictures. It's a MRI. It's the scans, the baby scans. So what we realize is that there's these children that have been lost, and but a friend of mine gave me a really great note about hang on to that. Don't let people see what that is until the end of the movie. It'll help your dramatic tension, which was a great note, which did help, and the dramatic tension in the film. But at some point, we shot a scene with a bunch of little girl extras. It was like the woman runs into a pageant mom and pageant kids, and because she kept running into different kinds of women who helped her along her journey. But we realized after we shot this big scene with a bunch of kids in pageant dresses, like those whole big muffin top dresses, and we realized she didn't have the prop. And we're like, oh, shoot, we can't reshoot that scene. So then we created a scene where she realizes she lost it, and we go back to where she'd slept, which we could shoot with, like she'd slept under a tree. We had use of that tree because it was in a yard that we could use, and we shot a scene where she runs back to the tree, crawls under the tree, and comes back out with the bag. And so what it added to the film was a reminder of that this thing was important, and it gave us a moment in the middle of the film to show how important it was to her. So it did in the end, that forgotten prop in the big scene did then help lay in the emotional meaning of the prop before we discovered what it was at the end of the movie.
I'll try to keep it short, but basically, I just want to say, when you have a film, and you're creating a film, and you plan and you plan and you plan, and ultimately something goes wrong, the more things that go wrong usually means that your movie's going to turn out really great. Because the ones that are like so perfect, and you're like, I love everyone, this is a great experience, and then it's like, it goes nowhere. So you should wish for problems in an independent film. So, the film Volare that I had won originally at Long Island Film Fest was such a journey. It was about my father's journey coming to America as a little kid from Italy. And I had planned this whole thing, and I won a $50,000 grant from the Los Angeles Italian Film Festival, and Dante Spinotti was going to shoot it, all these amazing things that were promised to me. And 2 weeks before I had Federico Castelluccio come out to Los Angeles to film, they stole it. My own people stole my grant. So in 2 weeks' time, I had to call everyone I had ever met to try to make this movie happen. And it was based in 1946, Brooklyn. And strangers will help you. You'll find strangers will help you first, before family, friends, and everyone else that you think is going to have your back. Strangers will come to the task. So I got Paramount Studios for $1,000 to shoot in New York, which basically just covered the trash men. But when I had told everyone, like, this is what happened to me, I have everyone coming here, I have a great cast, and everyone came to the table, and then here we are shooting on a Sunday at Paramount Studios, and a huge crane above Lucille Ball's old office, which I turned into a backyard Brooklyn, 1946 backyard, and the crane broke. So what happens? You cannot call insurance, so you start calling your producer friends, and they're like, I don't know, call insurance. So I just went around the backyard, this fake little backyard we had created, and I was like, Lucille Ball, God, someone help me. I have 100 people here. What, like, this is my shot. And I was like, I just know Steven Spielberg is going to see my movie. Why I thought this? I mean, of course we all love Spielberg movies, but I wasn't like a huge fan. I was like, I know he's going to see my movie, and I need your help, please, Lucy. And then all of a sudden, this guy, his name was Rocker, which is a name I'll never forget. He worked the crane. He's like, we got it! And I was like, oh! And we got the shots and everything, which was fantastic. And then that movie came out, and guess what? Steven Spielberg saw my movie. And that's how I got on this reality show that he was doing with Mark Burnett for looking for the best director or whatever. And then I got this deal with DreamWorks. It was just one of these weird serendipitous things, but it was born out of such trauma. Like, you have 2 weeks' time. Everybody's flying in from New York and everywhere to shoot this movie, and everything fell to just garbage. Someone gave me a car to sell, on one of those car sites. I sold for $25,000, a cheap Cherokee. So you just never know, and I just think what you think is going to be like, even on bedtime, we showed up to the set, the gaffer for some reason didn't realize, because he missed location scout, that we were on the second story. So then we had to put moonlight in through a second-story townhome, which was a nightmare. We got to set. This ancient dog that they had that has one of those tongues that just hangs out all the time, he had puked all over the bed. And I was like, we have our kid for 3 hours with a studio teacher here who's like, come on. And I was like, this is a nightmare. We're never going to get it. We had 2 cameras. That was, we planned it. My whole shot list went out the window. But ultimately, we made something that 11 minutes, it works, so you just never know. So you have to have resilience, and that's the main thing.
100%.
Wow.
What was the reality show?
On the lot.
On the lot.
Yeah, it was on Fox.
Very cool.
I think, Elena, you said you had something.
Oh, yeah.
let's do it. You guys do it in.
I got no story.
Oh.
Everybody has nightmares.
Well, we'll do Elena and then we'll come back to you.
Sure. Well, compared to your story, mine is like just technical issue. Like, okay, so my story, my film was based on micro budget SAG production contract, and I had SAG union actors, so it was great. That's right. You know, I'm not the union actor, but my partners, my other actors are the union actors, so they're amazing. And so, due to the budget limitations, we had very long shots for almost each scene. Our director, PRD, sometimes wanted us to do the whole shot from the beginning to the end, a few times, because we only had one day to shoot and one location, which were provided by friends, and we were super lucky to have that location with all the furniture, which is like, think about 19th century Belgium. So we had all that old-fashioned, furniture coming with the location. So we saved lots of money on that. So due to the long shots, we had some difficulties with editing. So the first edition really came out like a boring. So for example, you see like the woman, Marianne, is walking in the building for a minute. I'm like, no one's gonna watch it, it's boring. And so it was like, the film was ruined, basically, after the first edition. So we just, there was no way to go with this, it's boring. And then we got the second editor, Miguel Garzon, and he made it so funny, so cool. So for example, like, Karl Marx scratching his forehead, thinking about his big ideas, and the woman is walking, so already you feel like there's tension, something is coming, something is happening. So that was kind of a challenge for me, because for a couple of months we were stuck with that first edition, and resistance of the first editor to make changes. He wanted to lock it, that's it. No. And we just saved the film at the end of the day with a second editor. So that was like, not as your story, but challenging part of the process, of the post-production work.
All right, Sheena.
So my film was shot in the Thar Desert in India, like rural, distant villages. There were a lot of complications that I didn't think about ahead of time that were really unexpected. So our car got stuck in the sand a few times. We couldn't it was really hard to get it out. And it was totally shot on iPhone, so we had to cycle through phones because they would just keep shutting down in the heat. And it was really frustrating, but I kind of realized it just made the experience hit differently, because I was there to get to know their water crisis, the ones that the villagers are experiencing every day. And these are the conditions that they experience their whole life, with no water and no air-conditioned hotel to go back to every night. So yeah, it just made the experience deeper and more. It's great.
All right, anybody else?
I got a small one.
All right.
So, first of all, can I just say, how do I befriend everybody to the left with me right now? Because you guys are so cool. You have some great stories. Holy moly. So, for context, I graduated graduate school at Stony Brook University in 2023. Thank you. The film is a much bigger feat than the graduation, trust me. So this was actually my thesis film. And I had started production on February something of 23, and I was set to graduate in May. I needed to have a rough cut done, yesterday for this thing. So automatically, I was putting myself in this weird box where I was like, okay, I'm directing my debut feature, and I have 3 months to get something in the can for my thesis credit at the end of, end of April, beginning of May. And so from the start, I was like, okay, I'm just going to lower the stakes for myself. This is not going to be good. I don't care. I'm just going to get it out. And so as a result of that, and because of this immense time crunch, something beautiful emerged where I got to be one of my most authentic selves in the movie. And I don't know, the fact that I mean, first of all, I didn't have a script. It was mostly improvised. You know, it was just me talking to myself the whole freaking movie. So, but there was something so magical about being like, all right, I'm just gonna set up a tripod and whatever the hell happens, happens. And then I get to the edit room, and all of a sudden I'm having the time of my life, like editing this thing. And that, you know, and that's saying something, because I was staring at my face for like 16 hours a day. You know, multiple faces, 16 hours a day. And yeah, I genuinely was very happy. Like it wasn't even until I showed the rough cut at both the thesis crit and then to my friends who had worked on it and my family who supported me, where they were like, this is legitimately actually kind of good. Like your past stuff was like okay, but this is actually, I feel like this could go somewhere. And I was
Why
like,
are you so surprised?
well, yeah, it's kind of crazy, right? And I remember just being, so we had to pause halfway through because, you know, it's a feature film. You know, I had to go to the bathroom. So I'm in the bathroom, and from the other room I can hear people being like, this is actually good. You know? The fact that they're like not saying that to my face, I was like, yo, wait, actually? Right? So I was like, okay, cool. You know, and obviously that's yet to be seen here. I hope you guys enjoy it for those that see it at 4 p.m. But yeah, I don't know, I feel like if you lower the stakes and basically just be like, you expect the bare minimum out of the thing that you're creating, something magical will emerge because you will surprise yourself, and that's what happened to me. So,
Well, I think just the fact that you were accepted to the Long Island International Film Expo means that their comments were correct. And you did have something. Because I do consider this a very prestigious festival. This festival actually is what launched my career back in 2003. We won Best Feature here and went on to get distribution and ended up getting theatrical release worldwide. So, and I credit all of that to the Long Island International Film Expo and our win here because it was a horror film, but it won a prestigious festival like this. So it got a lot of attention and a lot of heat on us. And we weren't really going anywhere until that happened, and that changed everything. So you guys should all be very proud to, be among a lot of the alumnus here, because it really is a great place. If it's your first festival, it's a great place to start. And if it's not, then you probably know by now that this is a really great place to, either premiere or show your film. So on that note, actually, kind of dovetailing of what Max just said, I'd like to know, now that you've finished your film, which is a great achievement, what does success mean to you at this point for your film? Like, what do you expect, and what would mean, yes, this was all worth it and it was a success? Anybody would like to answer that? Yes, down here.
Yeah.
Yes, sit down.
Please.
Climb back up on that little bridge. So my first film was also at Long Island, and I wasn't able to come to that one, but both my films have been cause-based films for women's issues. And so for me, with Coyote, just like my first film, I was gone for a while, it's about getting through to people in a way that statistics and rhetoric don't get through. And I had listened to a piece on NPR which galvanized my need to make this film, and it was about a coalition of women from both sides of the political aisle who were coming together to try to get Roe v. Wade reinstated, or reproductive protections reinstated, because, and this woman said, no woman wants an abortion. And that is 100% true. I've had many friends that have had to go through that, and it's a horrific experience, and it's a horrific decision to have to make. And there are many reasons why women make that choice. But
people are so locked in to their ideologies, and if you could just see the human cost, I just desperately hope it changes hearts and minds. So I just want to get it in front of as many people as possible and begin conversations that are based on our mutual humanity and not rhetoric by politicians who don't care about us.
Bravo, you.
A similar thing that I love to tell stories. My issues tend to be more personal, but there was a point years ago I was teaching and I had a film playing festivals and I was meeting more friends and meeting more people to collaborate with, and I realized, like, in this moment, if nothing changes, if what I keep doing is making films that play festivals and teaching, I'm happy. And I think some of us lose sight of being happy in the moment with where we are. Yes, I absolutely would love to sell some feature screenplays. I'd love to make feature screenplays, get them to distribution. Like, I have some goals, but I think there's also something about being in this moment, being happy with where we are and with what we're doing and finding other people to collaborate. And yes, it's a huge thing if you get a film finished, and yes, it's a huge thing if you play a festival. And so for me, part of what I learned that I hang on to is I'm happy with the here and now as much as I have goals going forward.
I don't remember the question, but to both your points, I love that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 women on this panel.
Yeah,
When
baby.
I first did this festival, I feel like it was me and Deborah. That was it, right? So that makes me really happy. And then also, I forget what the question was, but I'll just say, if you're a creator, you just have to create. I have always been a creator. I've always been a storyteller, and I have many arms to my career. And you just have to get your hands in the earth and always create, even if it means planting a plant. That's what you're put on this earth to do. Don't let anyone dissuade you. And as Backrooms and Obsession will teach the entire industry, you don't need anyone. You don't need a distributor. You can sell your movie on Instagram. So just make it.
Well, for the actor in particular, it's the first year of a 10, potentially longer filming process of a feature film called award season, and I've always deeply loved Richard Linklater for many reasons. He's my favorite director, but I love his very singular ability to use time as like his greatest asset in filmmaking, and that he trusts to like genuinely just follow these people as they grow up throughout life. Boyhood, the Before trilogy. Right now he's making Merrily We Roll Along. Apparently now I am Richard Linklater's publicist. And I was always really fascinated by that. And I wrote The Actor's Actor as the two opposing versions of myself. Austin Dean, who I play, is everything I kind of don't want to be. This obsessive, difficult, unhappy unless he's great type of human being. And Jake Edwards, who's played by Lucas Stagnita, who's just an overall stud. I love this man. He's just everything I want to be. And literally, he plays the character of everything I want to be. He is calm, he is cool, he is collected, he is respectful, and he's doing it for the right reasons. He takes it serious, but he doesn't take himself too serious. And I wanted to see where I, as a person, would grow from when we made this movie to where we are 10 years down the line. And the hope, the ambition with it is, I've outlined award season, I have the whole feature, I, as of now, know where I would like it to go. And when we get to make it with Luca and I in 10 years' time, all the flashbacks or anything of that regard will actually be from the actor set. So we'll just actually be looking at Luca and I, how we were 10 years prior.
Cool.
Well, this is my first film. I'm not too sure what my definition of like a success would be, but I guess it would be the motivation to make more films and definitely explore this idea of water scarcity for sure in the future.
So proud of you. Oh my God, I don't even know you. I'm just like this. You're amazing. For us, as you guys, right, I know, she's got so much ahead of her. So for us, as you guys know, I mentioned earlier that we did get picked up by a sales team, so that, you know, is obviously a great goal to have for any project. But I think what I really love about this particular project is, while it is a genre, and I pride myself in being a producer that likes to tell multiple stories I'm sort of genre agnostic. So I never like to pick any one particular genre, as long as the story's great and the characters are fun and tell a story and maybe a message. But what I like about this particular film, The Silicant, is that while it is a genre film, I think there's still a little message to be said about it, and I like that crossover ability for this kind of film. Because while there is that mental health issue in it, it still is genre, which is the horror genre of like psychological thriller and entertaining, and you know, with a couple little jump scares and blah blah blah. But I love that about film, that now it's more widely accepted to do sort of crossover genres and be able to entertain and get messages across and sort of have some, you know, poignant impetus to like say something and have an opinion about social issues and things like that. So I think that moving forward too, as a storyteller and a producer who has a bunch of stuff in the hopper, I hope that I'm able to do that continually by having great messages in great stories that cross over genres and sort of blur the line between being just a horror or just a comedy. You know what I mean? I think there's the ability to do a bunch of different things and be able to hit a lot of different audiences. So goal moving forward, that's what I would consider successful, is to be able to stay in the genre agnostic lane, but still be able to tell great stories with great messages.
To me, the success of my work is in being accepted, in particular in prestigious film festivals, is about to share the story and about to have people to be able to see different points of view. So, for example, I, as a person who was born in the Soviet Union, I definitely know that Marxism is not a good thing. So, and I really enjoyed that opportunity to have make a little fun around Marxist ideas, such as communal property and sharing a woman. That's the core of there is a triangle, love triangle in the film, and the Marxist ideas all together. So it's a witty way to, you know, to make fun, to mock something that doesn't work, never worked in my country. So, and this is our 5th official selection, and also we are honored to be nominated for Marx Time Comedy Award. And thank you. So, thank you. And to me, it's more about the success of the work that we as producers and filmmakers can enjoy, is to share our point of view through the comedy, through the drama or horror, any genre that is, or cross genre. Also, I'd like to say that oh yes, it's interesting that going through the circle of film festivals this year and last year, I got lots of suggestions from fellow filmmakers to turn this short into the feature.
Right.
Yes, and I'm like, yeah, I'm considering this idea as well. Yeah. Opportunity. Sure. Thank you.
Fantastic. So for me, there's different levels of success, and I feel like, you know, they're all very relative. The obvious one, I think someone on the panel already said it, which is trying to get as many people to see the work as possible, right? And so, you know, this is a prime example of that, is, you know, film festivals, right? But for me in particular, another avenue that I've been exploring very recently this year is I started my own YouTube channel. So eventually, you know, when it gets hopefully picked up for distribution, it'll wind up on there. And so that's like another form of success for me, is, you know, that getting as many views and comments and praise as possible, right? And, you know, again, and somebody else said, you know, like obsession and backrooms and And Ireland was a huge inspiration for me as well. And I like the idea of exploring this new opportunity to share your film with complete strangers on the internet that have no idea who you are. And to echo your point about strangers and their support, right? Nothing to me is more valuable than the praise from a stranger. Because if you're receiving praise from family and friends, like, you kind of have an obligation to be nice to me, whether the film is good or not, right? But with a stranger, especially on the internet, like, they're blunt. They'll tell you if they hate your film. You know what I mean? Like, there are trolls out there that will say the meanest stuff, whether it's true or not. So if they're the ones giving you praise and being like, yo, I showed this to like 8 other people, and I'm gonna like, just like, it warms my heart. And I already have like a fairly decent following of people that are excited to see it when it actually comes out on streaming. So that definitely is a version of success for sure.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, so something else I wanted to bring up. I've been making films for quite a while. When I started out, everything was shot on film. There was no digital. And back in the early 2000s, when digital first started coming around, like the Panasonic DVX100, and all of a sudden we could shoot in 24p, everything back then was very technical. Like when I would go to film festivals, it was all about what did you shoot it on? What technology did you use? And I find that, now, in the present day, with all the technology that's out there, that conversation has kind of been sidestepped. No one really talks about the acquisition of their film, how it was made. And in a way, there's what they call a democratization of filmmaking, because now, if you have an idea, you can make a movie. There's really no discipline to it. There's nothing holding you back. So anyone that has an idea can go out and express that idea, which I think is really cool. But what I'd like to ask you guys is, what do you feel about the technology, where it's going? Because obviously AI is at the forefront now. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's talking about how that's going to influence how people make movies, how people do special effects. Will actors even be relevant 10 years from now? So I was wondering if anybody has an opinion on, where we are today with regards to filmmaking, the process, and the technology. How you feel about that?
So, as someone who has shot on 35mm film, I think there is something to be said about having a 3-to-1 ratio and knowing how to do that. As much as you can shoot on your phone and you have unlimited takes, it's still a craft. And I hope that people still learn the craft, right? Because I wouldn't want a doctor to perform surgery and he's just like, I felt like doing this. So it's still a craft, and you should still learn your craft and know the history of why you've got a clip bin on Pro Tools or anything, you know what I mean? That came from actual physical work, and there's a method to it, and I hope you understand the platform better. But I forgot where I was going with that, but basically, years ago I went to a film expo. I go to all the expos looking at the new material and the new physical production modes and cameras and bodies of cameras. Everything, down to grip gear, okay? I always go to those things to see what's coming out, because it takes another 8 to 10 months for it to come out. So back in the day, there was a film panel of cinematographers, the great cinematographers of, the 70s, Laszlo Kovacs and everybody. And he was like, don't do it! Don't do digital! It's a monster! And he was freaking out, because he saw his own film mortality.
Sure.
And I was like, dude, you gotta bend. You have to bend, you need to learn it. And that's why you see Scorsese saying no, AI could be cool, it's a tool. Because he knows if he doesn't bend, he becomes irrelevant. Right? So these things are tools. I've taken many AI workshops. You should definitely learn the tool. Is it going to take an actor? No, because we have a soul. And I will tell you, as someone who's working very much with AI, what it takes to get from one 3-second clip to the next emotion, the face of that AI model will change, and you will never get it the same unless you are extremely proficient at the codec of what that platform is.
Right.
So nobody needs to fear it. It's a tool, and you should learn the tool. It certainly works. I mean, we have YouTube studios that are just walls of televisions, And it certainly works to have a pool of water here and then a television that shows a big ocean there like that. It's way better than sticking an actor out in the real ocean or having, somebody work on these special effects for hours and hours and hours. It costs a lot of money. If that could be made simpler, I'm all for it. But it's a tool and people should not fear it. So you gotta learn the new tools as they come in. But with that being said, please know where these tools were born of. Know why you have bins in your editing software. It comes from a certain place.
And also too, if you think about the marketplace, I attend the markets pretty regularly, not the expos, but the film markets. Cannes, AFM,
Sure.
Berlin, the whole 9 yards. And the interesting thing about the transition of what's happening with technology is that there's a really, really big split still
Yeah.
with buyers who are kind of, some of them are really into the new technology and looking at a trailer that's fully developed in AI, and there are still the old school buyers that are like, this is shit, because it's not real. There is no emotion in the characters, there is no textures that are like grass that really is real, you know what I mean? So the interesting thing is it's still split down the middle, but what I did notice at the markets this past year, both at AFM and Cannes, is that everyone is starting to adapt to sort of a hybrid, which again, knowing your past, knowing your present, and knowing your future of technology is really important. And if you're able to adapt all of the technology into a hybrid of using still reality, real people, real scenes, and mix in whatever kind of VFX, physical effects, AI, the hybrids tend to be a little bit more well accepted than just AI or, you know what I'm saying? So you're right about learning how to adapt, because if we don't adapt, we break. But just be aware that, like you said, the human aspect of it will never be replaced, and the marketplace is not ready for that to be the norm either. So the press and the noise and the rhetoric can continue in the news saying that, yes, we're moving towards this, but we're not 100% yet. So that's not happening in the marketplace. Buyers are still wanting the real stuff. However, it could be hybrid, but not completely AI, no way. It's not happening yet.
May I echo that?
Yep.
So, to your points, where people are looking for a hybrid, could not agree more. I think that there absolutely is a place for this type of technology, but specifically with generative AI, that's kind of where I draw the line. Because, here's a great example of that. It's like, with many things, there's a spectrum. With all these new AI technologies, there's so many versions of it that you can easily use it as a tool, or you can use it as a replacement. And I think that we should be doing the former. A great example of that is Adobe Podcast. This, oh my goodness, if you've never heard of this, it's a lifesaver. When I was starting editing 10 years ago, I would come across this absolutely unusable audio source. It was, shot outdoors and there's wind that's going, nobody can hear what the heck is going on. With Adobe Podcast, you run it through this thing and it sounds like it was recorded in a professional studio. It's oh my goodness, it's a lifesaver. Candidly, I did use it on my film. That, I feel like, is a great example of how we should be using AI, period. Now, on the other side of the spectrum are people that are generating full films, short films specifically. They're online already. You can look them up right now, AI short films on YouTube. There's a plethora of them. Those, I think, are the ones that need to go away, because that is replacing everybody. And you'll look at
jobs.
Yes, and you'll see in the credits of these shorts, like I've watched a few, I've done commentary, anyways. So you'll see in the yeah, right? Yes, you'll see in the credits, it's one person, and then they'll credit the software that they use. And it's like, you're not a filmmaker, okay? Point blank, that is not filmmaking. And there's a clear difference between that versus CGI, because I feel like some people might make the argument if you're not shooting live action, is it still a movie if it's generated entirely with a computer? That is a very distinct thing. There's one thing between using a software to actually make it easier for you to do the work, and then actually not doing the work. Right. Don't do that. That's not filmmaking, period.
I'm not a tech expert, in filmmaking. However, I want to absolutely resonate with it. I relate to what you all mentioned, and I just want to add to this a real life situation. So in one of the previous film festivals I attended with my film back in the end of 2025, there was a block completely made of films based on AI only. So actors are
So
AI,
category.
characters,
The
the
category was
category AI category, yes. And honestly, watching it, I didn't feel, I felt something was missing. And what was missing was a human side of it. So yes, everything was great, made perfectly fine, clear picture, professionals, the story is great. But what was missing is a humanity behind it, a person.
Like that human
the
spark.
feelings,
Yeah,
the
sure.
human spark, yes. And I don't know where it can go and how successful it could be, but I cannot disagree that there is not a future for that type of, in my opinion, there is no future, a real huge market share for this type of work, in my personal opinion. And another thing is verticals, which are super popular now. I still, I like them as long as they are made professionally and there is a craft, as you said, right? So there is a craft to it, and actors really act. So you can watch it. I don't care if it's vertical or horizontal, as long as the actors act and the story is worth it and everything else. The professionalism is there. However, unfortunately, some verticals now, because maybe it's a new industry, so and they're made on a low budget, I understand. So I see a lot that, for example, they're missing a lot of the craft, the importance of, and you watch it like if it's not real. I just wish for verticals to become more, so go to the more
Higher quality.
high quality and professional level. I have nothing against verticals, but I think it's every filmmaker has a chance to start somewhere, and the verticals are the industry right now, is the industry, the market share. But it has to be, everything has to be done with a craft and professionally, in my opinion.
In the marketplace too, it's funny because when we were in Cannes at AFM this year, we were asked if we had verticals, which was the first time that happened. It was kind of crazy. People would come into our suite, because we're exhibitors, and they would be like, hey, do you guys have any verticals? And at first I was like, and then I thought about it, and what Elena's saying is if the quality is there and you're doing it, you know, like there's all kinds of SAG contracts now that you can do verticals, and if the quality is there and the work is there and you're continuing to give people jobs and tell great stories, then it shouldn't matter what format it's in. You know, everybody was all pissed off when, you know, platforms came and people were showing stuff on YouTube, and now that's generating more income than you can imagine for people. So I think that if there's a chance, like you said, to do it professionally and craft some great stories, then, you know, why not? Yeah.
I was first shooting on film. I'm gonna date myself. So I first was shooting on 16mm film, and digital looked like crap. And the only reason I was willing to start shooting on digital was when we had depth of field control. So we could tell story, because part of how I like to tell story is where am I putting focus using depth of field. So at that point, I was open to digital, did some digital stuff. I have a film that was shot on a mirror with prime film lenses, beautiful. And then I did an accidental documentary on the iPhone, which turned into this film that shot on an iPhone and a bunch of crazy cameras. So the point that I want to make is the camera that you're using, the technology that you're using, in the end, it comes down to story. Are you telling a compelling story? And is the camera and the technology that you're using supporting that story? Because it starts and ends with story. And so it can be whatever you want to shoot on, if that works with the story that you're telling and the story's compelling.
Yeah, and to back up what Lorraine's saying, think about black and white films, right? How many great black and white films are out there? Are you going to say, hey, this film it really isn't that good anymore because it's black and white, it's not even shot in color, the quality's not as good as today, so that diminishes the value? It doesn't. It really does come down to story. A great movie is a great movie.
Young Frankenstein.
Yeah, there's so many.
There it is.
And I think my take on the whole AI thing is, I think when you watch a movie, there's a unique fingerprint that is on every film that's made, whether it's the director, the writer, the actor. And the problem with AI is it's too perfect. And I think that's the thing that when people watch it, something's off. And I think what's off is everything is just too perfect. And I think it's people's imperfections, our own imperfections. That's what makes something unique. And I think that's what gets lost in translation with AI. And I think that's never really, AI is never really going to, you can't say, hey, by the way, make it so it's not so perfect. Make it so he doesn't walk such a straight line. You know, nobody's going to make AI films like that. At least I don't think they are. But I think for a while we're going to be pretty safe because of that. But I'd like to talk about, you know, we're mentioning old films. Like, making a movie is a very unique endeavor. And it's a very difficult thing to take on, especially a lot of you guys seem like you're very self-contained, you do a lot of the work yourself, right? So it's a lot of, you know, it's a huge effort to complete a movie. So my question to you guys, anyone who wants to take it, is what are some of your inspirations to get into this in the first place? Like, what are some of the filmmakers, directors, writers that you look up to that inspired you to get into wanting to make a film in the first place?
I'll take it since I have the mic, but real quick on the AI point, real fast. I think once Aaron Brockovich comes out and tells you about the water supply and how AI depletes that, and also the plants that run these machines to make that are killing the people around where they're living, I think that will sort of go away. And also to the point of the verticals, verticals are a different medium that came out of Asia, which is based on soap opera. So that's why they're very zoom in and oh my god, you know, everybody's like major character, the villain, I mean, even the way they cast, or like boss lady, you know, it's like, you know, so it's a different medium, and I think there's money there, and people are jumping on that trend. But now that SAG has jumped on the trend and lowered the pay rate, I think they're going to go away, or at least be just a different arm of revenue that's going to sort of get depleted because movies are coming back, and you have to keep saying that.
Yep.
Just keep saying movies are coming back. You have to take your friends to the theater. I have a movie group called Carpe Noctem, which is tell your friends we're all going to the theater, make it an event. And once we get back to that, I think there'll be joy in going to the theater and lining up and waiting 6 months before it's on streaming, and it can happen. So anyway, what was the question again? Oh, okay. So my greatest influence. My parents are from Italy, from Sicily, and Frank Capra, Black and White Movies, It's a Wonderful Life, is our go-to every year, and I am a filmmaker who champions the little man, always, because I learned from Frank Capra, and if you don't know who that is, start watching his movies, because it'll tell you everything about story. Storytelling should be paramount, I feel. Character-driven stories need to come back, and is what is missing since we've gotten to this Marvel universe that sort of crashed our industry, which is now, you know, there's a place for it, but there needs to be balance. So I watched a lot of old black and white movies. Here in New York, there used to be the New York Nostalgia Network, which was sort of like a TCM, and I used to watch the Judy Garland show, like things that are well before my you know, like a long time ago. But as a child, I would have such an imagination watching the black and white, I would see it in color. So when Schindler's List came out, and there was the girl in the little red jacket, I was like, you can see that? Because I thought, oh, I thought I was creating that, you know? So I would say, again, go back and watch the classics because it'll teach you more about storytelling. The studio system used to make 325 movies a year. Think of how many days are in a year. And they did it and cranked it out. And now it's like, you know, Universal DreamWorks is making 6 movies. That's not a lot. So, storytelling is tantamount.
A lot of filmmakers my age say that Star Wars is the reason they're a filmmaker, and I love Star Wars, and I saw it in the movie theater. Again, I'm dating myself, but for me, it was Kevin Smith. because he was character-driven dialogue, and I went, I could do that. I am funny, and I write plays. And so Kevin Smith was the filmmaker who inspired me to think in terms of jumping from theater to film.
Well, just in terms of admiration, for me, it's always been Martin Scorsese, and in particular, Age of Innocence, which a lot of people felt was an atypical Scorsese film, but the way he would use close-ups on objects to create a world, and accidental filmmaker here, but then also when I worked with my DP on my first film, he said, oh, okay, you've got a Kelly Reichardt thing going on. So I started diving into her films, and I realized that slow pace and that quietness and that trusting your audience, I'm so weary of explosions and quick cuts and things coming at me, and just to be able to trust your audience, to think, to settle, to follow, to be present, is a gift that as an audience member I appreciate, and so that's really the type of style I want to emulate.
I didn't see Star Wars in theaters, but that is actually the first movie I remember ever watching. And that always, it's perfect in this amazing thing. But for me, I mean, I've been doing theater since I was a little kid. I've been watching movies my entire life. Probably my earliest memory is going to the library every day after school with my father and getting films. But for me, it was actually when I was 15 and I started training to be a professional wrestler. And that really kind of switched my mindset from and something strictly being performative and entertaining to being psychological and story-driven. And as time has gone on, I try and find a balance of both. But I very clearly remember I was 15 years old. I was at the Creative Pro Wrestling Academy, which is a school in Hicksville. It's run by former WWE superstar Kurt Hawkins.
Oh, you dropped a name.
I did. Hi, Brian. And we'll keep going. I'll stop dropping names. But I remember I was, you go there and you're like, oh, this is great. I'm gonna be John Cena, and I'm gonna do all these great things. I'm gonna look really cool. And it's like Broadway with body slams, and it's stunt work, and it's opera, and it's Shakespeare, and it's all this one thing. And someone had asked me, has anyone ever taught you the structure of a match? And I was like, what do you mean, the structure of a match? And he's like, well, yeah, there's a good guy, babyface, and a bad guy, a heel. But like, why do we understand this is the bad guy, we don't want him to win, and why do we want this person to win? I'm not going to bore everyone with the structure of Shine into a comeback and false eight and the cutoff and all that fun stuff. But it was this like a deep understanding that, it was this understanding that I didn't just like John Cena as a kid because he was colorful and because he was like this larger-than-life figure. It was because he had this mastery of storytelling and understanding his why. I'm not just hitting the attitude adjustment, John Cena's finisher, because people want me to. I'm hitting it because I've worked for it, I've earned it, I've tried, I've failed. And I would say, I think I'm getting away from the question at this point, but the craft of storytelling has come from professional wrestling for me.
And what was your catchphrase?
My catchphrase? So, I actually fell into the YouTube when I first started in professional wrestling from 15 years old to 21. My gimmick was that I was a wrestler, which was vlogger plus wrestler. My whole thing was I was this like social media guy, and it was actually great for filmmaking because I had made over 300 vlogs for YouTube and hundreds of TikToks, and I just got really comfortable looking at myself and editing myself and learning actually a lot about facial expression and the subtleness needed. So it was really instrumental. There was no real catchphrase for that, but when I turned 22. Character change into being the leading man, which is what I use now, which is basically a wannabe Tom Cruise. He's this not even B-list actor, he's this D-list actor whose movies go straight to YouTube, and not that there's anything wrong with that, but when you think you're Tom Cruise and you think you're making Mission Impossible and that's your life, it's a nice discrepancy. And the whole shtick behind it is that I'm what a leading man should be in professional wrestling because I act, I sing, I dance, and I do my own stunts.
Did you do the Tom Cruise run into the ring?
Oh my gosh, so I make these short films about my leading man character. And in the script, there's at least one scene where it just says Tom Cruise run. And it's just like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? And I'm like, it's just a Tom Cruise run. Doesn't matter. I'm just gonna run like Tom Cruise. And I'm gonna say Tom Cruise run as I'm walking.
That's your catchphrase.
Tom Cruise run. There you go. He might CC me on that.
Yeah.
So I would say this is my first film, and what inspired me to make it was definitely just being in India. So I've been involved in art and music my whole life. I never really got into film before that. And my grandfather, who was a cardiologist, he was always really passionate about organ donation. He's done a lot of work with that, and he always told me growing up that everyone should have one humanitarian issue that really resonates with them, that they really care about, and they should spend the rest of their life dedicating something to it. So I suppose for me it was water scarcity, and just being in India, I was really motivated to share this message with people, and I just thought, I'm going to try something new. I'm going to try a different kind of art this time, and I felt like making a film was the best way for me to tell this story. So that's what came from me.
Actually, you're giving me hope for youth in the future.
I love her. It's amazing.
I'm old, so.
I grew up in my household all about music and movies and the arts, and so we would watch the old school musicals, the Fred Astaire's, the Ginger Rogers stuff that just was spectacle, entertainment, talent, story, all of the above. D, check all those boxes. And I remember my parents were always like, pay attention to the details. The fact that there's a band, there's people who dance, there's people who sing. Look at all the artistry, watch the costumes. Like, they always made sure I was aware of all the details, which was always fascinating because it made me appreciate what goes into the storytelling. Like how many people are behind the scenes making this magic happen. But I think for me, the most inspiring time in my life was when I started to go to the Sundance Film Festival, and I watched people do it for zero money. And so those spectacles were amazing to watch the details, but those were backed by big studios. And so the freedom to explore crazy masterpieces was easier than the independent world. And so my husband and I started to go to the film festival. I think it was either 1997 or 1998. Yes, I told you I'm old. And it was back in the day when it was super, super cool to be an indie filmmaker. Like, it was so great to make a movie, as we call it, on spit and a Band-Aid. You know what I mean? Like, you just did it. You brought together all your artist friends and you were like, let's just hunker down in this location and tell a great story. And so I remember being at the Sundance Film Festival in the years where like, Relax, It's Just Sex, Digging to China, which was like Evan Rachel Wood's one of her first films ever when she was a child, and The Opposite of Sex with Christina Ricci. Just really amazing, great indie films. And then being able to get into the parties because it wasn't so crazy back then, and you could crash parties, and you could stand around talking to people like Liev Schreiber or Vince Vaughn and be like, talk to us about the process. And it was so connected and it felt like such a community. And I was like, this is where I want to be. I accept this. I accept the challenge. The gauntlet's been thrown. I want to be part of this community. I want to be part of this, like, at that time, these rogue misfit artists, that were just trying to get out there and make film. And so that was really my inspiration. I mean, my parents, again, taught me to really look at the details about what goes into it, but I think that kind of transition at that time at Sundance back in the 90s was when my heart just pounded and panged for wanting to be part of that group. It was like, they're the cool kids. I want to be part of the cool kids. And so, yeah, thus now, all these years later, I hope I'm part of the cool kids now. I'm here. I'm with Deb. She's a cool kid. And this panel's pretty much a cool kid, so thanks.
So much fun. So, I am an actor, first of all, with theatrical training, and Marianne and the Rebels is my very first short film, and my very first film. I what inspired me to make this film is definitely a story behind it. And the story was written as a short play by Bruce Bonafide, a beautiful playwright. When he sent me the story, the script, and told me that, hey, there is a character, Marianne, who's a foreigner actually, like myself, she could be interesting reading for you. And when I read it, of course, and first we did it as a theatrical production on Zoom during the pandemic because of due to the safety issues, and of course we did. It went to a first film networking in New York, and it was quite received well. And I was inspired after that to turn it into actually a screenplay. And I and our director Pierre Guy made an adaptation. I got the film rights from Bruce Bonafide, and we wrote the adaptation, added an additional character, some scenes, made it a little funny, and actually that's how I got inspired by the story written by Bruce Bonafide, which is a very witty, very funny, comedic take on these serious figures, historical figures. Yeah.
That's very cool. To echo what you said, that's exactly how I feel right now. I feel like I'm one of the cool kids. So my inspirations, I feel like there's, oh my goodness, there's like countless ones. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on just the one that I specifically echoed in 4 Clones Alone. And that is the Duplass brothers, Mark and Jay Duplass, for sure. It was pretty late in my filmmaking career, but I discovered the puffy chair. I'm sure a decent amount of people in this room have seen it. So what I like to say when people haven't seen my movie yet is imagine the mumblecore aspect of the puffy chair, but it's with, instead of like really long drawn out camcorder shots, it's locked off, really snappy editing, and it's also just the same guy 4 times. That's my movie, right? And so like the whole aspect of, oh my goodness, I forgot, somebody on the panel said like, you know, you don't need a lot to make a film. Like you can, we need more like character-driven stories. That's exactly what the puffy chair was to me. I was like, oh my goodness, like all you really need are like fantastic actors and like a camera. It does not need to be like the most pristine, you know, crisp Arri Alexa, you know, like all of this other stuff, right?
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, yeah, like if that's your shtick, that's your shtick. But the fact that, you know, the poor visual quality but the amazing acting is what added to the charm of this. I was like gobsmacked. I was like, dude, you know, like I had like a stupid little 4K point and shoot. That's what I shot, 4 Clones Alone on. And I was like, you know what? I don't need to rent out my school's camera. I could just go shoot this thing with my stupid little point and shoot. And that's exactly what I did. So I made a film that's sort of like the puffy chair. It's rough around the edges, but if you watch it and you look closely, like there's that charm to it, or at least that's what I'm hoping will come across. So Duplass brothers, I thank you. I almost met Jay Duplass. That was so cool. I had a connection. Actually, he produced the film, not Jay, but my in-between connection produced this film, and he almost got Jay to see it. And you know, maybe he'll see it one day, but yeah.
And also we reference the Star Wars connection, just because that also was, somebody mentioned that. My dog's name is Obi-Wan Kenobi, so I'm wondering if that was an inspiration in my life growing up. Yes, I did see the original in the theaters as well.
So I was wondering, now we should maybe like open it up to questions. Does anybody have any questions for the panel? Because I'm assuming all of you guys here are also filmmakers, whether you have a film in the festival or not. So yes, do you have a question for the panel?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, first of all, I just want to say thank you guys so much. I'm really happy to be here and just listen to you guys. Very driven. Has there ever been a movie that you guys made and then you wanted to do a remake of it? So like then your mission was to say, hey, I want to make this same movie again but with a bigger budget?
The short film I made about my dad, I think I will probably eventually turn into a feature or a TV series. Just because I have a huge, like, 400-person Italian family, and there's a lot of stories there. So, is this on still? Yeah. So probably eventually I will do that. But to remake it again, no.
Anybody else?
I'll only say this because I heard it yesterday in an interview with Matt Damon, and he was talking about Clint Eastwood has said he's made films that people deem masterpieces and films that people deem absolute rubbish, but he knows why he made them at that time, and he knows what he loves about them and what makes them special. So I can't take credit for that, but I really like that piece of advice and that guidance. And I would never want to remake anything, but I would like to expand upon it. And to what you said about turning the short into the feature, and just kind of, to me, I don't want to say remake a film, but it's a re-exploration of life I lived. I like writing about things that I've experienced and that I didn't really understand at the time, and I like to look back on them and see what I could have learned, and hopefully, because I know my experiences are not very singular to me. Like, I know I'm not the only one that's loved, I'm not the only one that's lost, I'm not the only one that's triumphed and failed. Everyone has. And in a reflection of what I've been through, hopefully that can help someone else. So I wouldn't remake any film that I've done, but I would like to re-explore life that I've lived.
Every film that I've made, I've learned stuff. So every film that I've made, when I'm cutting, I'm like, oh, I really wish I had that shot, especially reaction shots. And so there's not a film I would remake, but certainly I love certain shots. But also part of it is I keep having other stories I want to tell. So I would love to have certain shots to add to certain movies that I didn't get, but I want to keep telling different stories.
Everything I've ever shot was perfect and absolutely brilliant.
Any other questions? Yes.
So say you guys get, like, for lack of a better word, unlimited budget, you make whatever movie you want, what would that movie be? I would do sci-fi, because I'd love to do sci-fi now, but you need money to do it next, so.
I actually, in my film, the character has an audition for a film called The Woman Who Raised Me. And that originally started as a monologue that I wrote after my mother passed away. And it was just supposed to be this little micro short, and that was it. It turned into this film. And it has since turned into a full screenplay, and it's gone through 15,000 versions of rewrites. But I'm now in the process of trying to get this with a name actor and produced and funded. And that's the thing I would really want to make, and it piggybacks on the last point about, I don't want to say I don't regret my life, because that would probably lie, but it's interesting to look back on something that I lived and try and find a way to help someone else who experienced it. Because this is definitely not answering your question, but I'm going to say this anyway. Because after my mother passed, I was like, this feels really dumb. Right after she passed, I had this audition for a film, and I was like, this is so stupid, I'm going to go play pretend now? Why would I do this? I was feeling something that was very real, and now I'm going to go laugh on camera. It felt very wrong. And then time went through, and then another audition came in that was actually playing a guy going through the exact same thing I was. And I was like, my mom would really want me to do this, but I don't want to do this. And I think, unlimited budget, to go back to your question, I think I would just want to make that film, but any film that forces me to face something that I'm very uncomfortable with, and work with people that are just a lot smarter than me, which is most people, because I like knowing that I can learn something from this. So whatever budget gets me onto the set with the best people and the most uncomfortable script, to be honest.
Well, my next film that I'm due to do is a period piece that I'm going to star in, but I have written a satire about gangs, and it centers around this guy named Mateo he really wants to belong to a gang just because he wants to be part of the brotherhood, but he doesn't want to do anything wrong. So it's about how he keeps trying to evade doing anything wrong, but still act like he is doing the task that was put before him. Anyway, when I wrote it, I just kept thinking about Keegan-Michael Key, who is my boyfriend, but he doesn't know it. So if I had a lot of money, I would beg Keegan to be in my short film.
That's fine.
As an independent filmmaker, very often I'm trying to pay people something, and I'm very often saying, I wish I could pay you what you were worth. So an unlimited budget for me would be about paying people what they're worth. Because you do get what you pay for, and you do have a certain something. And also, I have a screenplay about dating called Disharmony, and I would love, let me say it to the camera, I would love Tina Fey and Amy Poehler to be in it, and Josh Lucas and Pat Brolin, and Tony Hale. So that would be my dream.
I have a production company. I have a number of slate of films that range from studio films to just this little short film I did here. But for me, because I am a talent that has multi-arms as an actor and producer, my goal has always been, and I keep back-burnering it, is to do a musical, a period musical where I can actually showcase everything that I do in one.
For me, it would probably, I like, you have a slate as well, so there's a lot of things to choose from that could be amazing. But from a personal standpoint, if I had an unlimited budget and unlimited resources, after my mom passed away and I was going through her stuff, I found a journal that I never knew existed.
Cool.
And I haven't been able to still get through it, and she's been passed away for 6 years. I keep getting further and further into it, but it's one of those things that you know, you need some time. I would love to be able to have somebody adapt it. And in a
I'll
perfect,
do it.
and in a perfect world, I would love to be a woman-centric film that has a female director, a female writer, a female DP, and really explore the life of my mom from when she was a little girl growing up in a major Italian family with a very strict alcoholic father and a bipolar brother, and how she kind of overcame a lot of different things to create the amazing family that she provided for me. And this journal that she wrote was actually to me. It started by saying my darling, wonderful daughter, and then she just went through, so, and again, I haven't been able to get through the whole thing yet, but I would love in a perfect world to be able to adapt her story using her journal to me, to tell that story. That would be amazing.
Beautiful.
Sorry.
Thank you for sharing this. It makes me think about my mom. She's alive, she's
That's
far
what
away
we
from
do.
me.
But that's what we're going to do, share and tell our stories, right? You know?
That's so touching. I love it. So if I had an unlimited budget, first of all, of course, I would turn my short into a feature, hiring the best team of the best screenwriter and the team, production team, and the best actors, and paying them a fair salary, of course, for all the rehearsals and the shooting time. And the second thing I would do, I would establish a production company where I would open the doors for screenwriters to send me their feature scripts and have a team to choose the best of the best stories out of those and produce them.
Nice. Give other people opportunities. It's kind.
So, 100% I want to echo what you said about paying people what they're worth. Like, I am so passionate. I'm sure everybody else is too. But paying artists what they're worth, like nothing would please me more than to be the guy on set that goes, and you get a giant check. You get a giant check. Everybody gets a giant check. Let's see what's behind door number 3. You know, but to make my answer a little bit more individual, I would also, we were actually talking about this on the screenwriting workshop yesterday, but a lot of filmmakers will reverse engineer their scripts around stuff that they already have because they know that they don't have unlimited money. So I would actually do the opposite. I would reverse engineer knowing that I have unlimited money and write a script I don't even know is in my head yet and just be like, yeah, giant Michael Bay explosion happens here and we hire Tom Cruise, you know what I mean? Just like pulling out all the stuff.
Tom Cruise and
You know, I kind of feel terrible now because when I tell my crew that, they come to me and they say, why are we getting just pretzels and no water for dinner? I say, look, just be happy you're working on a film. I have to rethink
Just be
all my
happier with the cool
policies
kids.
now. I'll have to raise more money. Actually, I wanted to ask you, Akshita, I wanted to hear from you. You're very passionate about about humanitarian issues. What's next up for you? Like after you've done this film and the success you've had, what would you like to do as your next feature, if you even want to do another feature?
I am trying to start my own nonprofit. I really hope to. So basically, in the film, it shows the well that a village got. That was after I raised some funds to help build the well for them. I'd really like to start my own nonprofit and engage with more villages and people in need and provide them with more water solutions, not just wells. And I really like to continue filmmaking so I can continue to share this message with people. So that's definitely next in store for me. I am also actually going to major in engineering. I'm going to start college apps in a few months. So that's also something I'd like to research in the future, and I also want to continue film because you know, there's always going to be enough AI machines and calculators and STEM, but we need art.
Yes,
That's
we
the
need
only
unique voices like yours, absolutely.
Like, that's the only thing that can really bring change. So I'd really like to put both of them together. Yeah.
I actually wanted to say we gave away the student awards at the opening night party on Wednesday, and you weren't here, but you film one for Best Awareness Film.
Everybody on the panel, get out, we're not worthy, okay? Congratulations.
All right, any other questions from the audience? Yes.
I had a question. So,
and who's your question to, by the way?
it's to really about anybody on the panel. This is our first feature film that we just completed.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So my question or just advice is, you know, we've got the bug now. We got to make a second movie. What's the advice on pursuing and getting that second film made? Is there any advice on that?
Don't wait.
Cool.
Yeah, don't wait. Don't let anything stop you from doing it. If you're trying to raise money, do it any which way you can, whether it be crowdfunding, hold an event where you're auctioning off shit, you know, pull in your favors, but just don't wait. Don't sit behind it and say, well, if the timing's not right, or what do we do next? You know what to do next. Go and tell your story. Find the money, find the locations, find the people. Just don't wait and make it happen. You can do it. You already did it. You're here. You already did it once. That's the hardest part.
I want to add to this something. I don't completely refer to this answer. Also, I want to say, try always to work only with people who share your passion, rather than with professionals who care less a little bit but want to get paid because they prefer money, your check, versus the sharing your story and sharing your vision. So always choose people maybe less professional, but people who resonate with the story, with you on a human level. Then the result will be much, much, much better.
We have a joke in my company, and excuse my language, but we say when you start working with Shake the Tree, you have to sign 2 NDAs. You have to sign a non-disclosure agreement, and you have to sign a no douchebags allowed. That's it.
I don't know what your film is about, but right now in film finance, because advertising is dead, like you don't watch commercials, right, on television, and something will pop up on Hulu or whatnot, so you should figure out what your script is about, and if there's something that is so niche, even if it's like the pegs on the bottom of the chair, you contact that company and say, hey, do you want to sponsor my film? This could be a major commercial.
Cool.
Anything, it's product placement in a new way, and
Yep.
these companies are desperate to do it, so.
And there's a lot of websites and platforms that you can find that do brand integration partnerships that can help you find the people.
Oh,
awesome. Yeah. Just honestly Google it. Yeah.
Just to piggyback off of that question, not to make it political, just because I'm from Nigeria originally, and I had to pay for my own movie. Like every dollar that went into the movie came from my pocket because legally I can't fundraise for my movie. Have you guys, while working in film, been affected by recent policies with working with foreign artists or foreign directors?
No. Basically, everyone's leaving America to go shoot in the UK or Australia or anywhere else that has a major tax credit.
Yep.
Our business is suffering greatly. I live in Los Angeles. Hollywood the studios are dead, unfortunately, and we're trying to bring that back because they waited too long to get their tax credit under control. So people left Hollywood, they went to Georgia, they went to Louisiana, then Florida, then the Florida infrastructure went to Georgia because there was more work there. Overseas is pretty much where everyone is shooting. Paris gives a great cultural tax credit. The UK does.
Spain is insane.
Spain is insane right now.
Spain is 54% on the first million in the Canary Islands and 45% thereafter, both above and below the line, as long as you have the right qualifications for crew.
Yeah, you need
it's
the
absurd.
infrastructure. So, I mean, there's plenty of places to shoot that you will get those benefits. So that, I think we have the opposite problem, really, from what you're saying.
Just as a point, I spoke to Steve yesterday. Netflix is building.
Speak up, Jeff!
Netflix is building a $900 million facility in what
New
used to
Jersey.
be an old army base in Fort Monmouth, New Jersey. So whatever we hear about Hollywood, well, obviously Netflix
And they're up to
knows something else.
35% now, right? Jersey.
Oh, no, it's because of the tax credit.
35%.
That's why.
New Jersey
Yeah.
always goes up 30,
Yeah.
35.
Yeah.
And there could be, like New York and New Jersey, they're like, well, yeah, well, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and it's like.
Interestingly, about the tax credit situation too, I have a friend, his name is Tony Armour, he's a great guy, he's part of the film commission down in, a couple of the film commissions down in Florida. What he's trying to do right now, he also runs the Film USA Pavilion in Cannes. And what he's trying to do is he's trying to rally all the states to come together to come up with a national.
Like a federal. Yeah.
Exactly, because all the countries, not only do the countries have regional tax credits, but they also have their country tax credit, which we don't have. We still are only governed by state to state. And he's literally trying to corral all the states together, and he's doing a really damn good job. I'm really proud of him for this. And he's trying to have a US tax credit so that we can bring some of the foreign productions back. You know, because there's a lot of us that are, and I say us because I mean I'm going to film in Spain in February because of that tax credit. Although, in answer a little bit to your question, prices are changing a bit in terms of travel and stuff because of war and because of all the things that are going on. So our budget actually just got upped by, I don't even want to say because I want to.
Because you have to bring the infrastructure to some places that
Right, well
don't have
actually
it.
Canary Islands actually has a pretty good infrastructure, believe it or not, and some regions don't though. But wouldn't that be great if my friend Tony could literally get all these states to come together and we could have an additional US tax credit to keep filming in the United States. So if you ever hear about any of that happening in any of your regions, participate, vote, do whatever it is that you need to do on whatever boards you need to do to make that go through.
Yeah, it is really important. We actually shot a film 2 years ago in Maine, and their tax credit was only 10%. And I actually met with some of the executives there, and they asked me, they said, you know, we don't get a lot of filming up in Maine, what can we do to incentivize? And I said, well, you start with the tax credit.
Yeah.
So they actually, based on our conversation, they increased their tax credit to 30% this year.
Yay.
So we were instrumental in getting that, put forward.
Yeah.
And it's really important, and it's already made a difference. They've already got applications coming in, which they didn't have anything coming in before.
Right.
So it does make a huge difference to advocate for that.
And we all need
Thank
to
you.
advocate for it,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, that's wonderful, thanks Steve.
Anybody else? All right, well, I just want to say congratulations to all the filmmakers on the panel, and why don't we give everybody a nice round. Thanks everybody for coming.
Thank you, Steve. Stephen, next is your market panel.
Yes, at 1:30, we're going to be doing the filmmaker, film market panel.
Can somebody take a group picture of the panel before we get up?
Good morning, how are you?
How are you? Someone can grab a picture?
I'm good. I'm not that broken.
Not that, not part of
I was gonna say, we can trade.
Picture?